Should you envision an Antarctic voyage as an ultimate adventure featuring penguins, tranquility, and untouched ice formations, you'd be partially correct. The real surprises emerge after you've boarded the vessel. These aren't pleasant surprises like complimentary champagne or unexpected room improvements. Having traveled to Antarctica on 3 separate occasions, I've witnessed travelers consistently caught off guard by identical concealed realities. Let's examine the actual facts about Antarctic cruise experiences before you retrieve your winter coat and travel documents. These are the details cruise operators withhold until you find yourself aboard with observation equipment and a 5-figure travel plan. Number 1. Your itinerary is mostly fiction. That stunning cruise schedule you meticulously selected on the internet? It's largely imaginary. What expedition companies fail to clarify is that the schedule represents hopeful speculation rather than a concrete agenda. After boarding, the ship's commander and voyage director will alter the route depending on frozen water conditions, climate patterns, air currents, and the presence of other vessels. As an illustration, during my most recent voyage aboard Silver Sea's Silver Endeavour, we didn't even depart from the designated harbor. 24 hours prior to embarkation, we received notification to proceed to an entirely different municipality because of strong wind conditions. Multiple destinations were subsequently eliminated or replaced. We bypassed Antarctic Sound and were forced to omit sections of the peninsula completely. However, there was a positive aspect. We enjoyed additional shore visits at surprising places like Bailey Head, which houses one of the area's most extensive chinstrap penguin populations. Therefore, your journey remains extraordinary. Simply avoid becoming overly committed to that polished marketing material. Number 2. Wildlife viewing depends entirely on your travel month. Cruise operators present countless images of adorable penguin offspring and snowy landscapes. But here's the reality. This is completely dependent on your travel month. November brings pristine snowfall and creatures beginning their reproductive cycle, though whale sightings are less frequent. December offers increased whale activity, more avian species, and heightened delightful pandemonium. Throughout January and February, anticipate penguin hatchlings, abundant whales, and unfortunately, significant amounts of penguin waste as well. Toward the end of February, wildlife largely returns to ocean waters, while shore areas become muddier and more ice-covered. Therefore, expecting baby seal sightings in March could result in encountering vacant shorelines and the occasional irritable skua. Adjust your anticipations similarly to how you organize your luggage, according to the season and with adaptability. Number 3. Medical emergencies can end your entire trip. Here's an aspect no cruise company promotes in their advertising. Should any passenger experience a medical crisis, the complete vessel may reverse course. The reason? Antarctica contains 0 hospitals. Not a single one. If someone sustains a broken bone or faces another severe condition, your planned route transforms into a rescue operation. Occasionally vessels can navigate to King George Island for medical evacuation, though only when the landing strip is free of ice. During one of my expeditions, we learned the entire journey could terminate early due to just one serious injury. The atmosphere aboard immediately resembled a senior living facility with rigorous fall prevention protocols. Therefore, bring your adventurous attitude and perhaps also quality knee support equipment. Number 4. Strict rules and biosecurity protocols are mandatory. Expedition voyaging isn't a freestyle activity. Numerous regulations exist. Prior to touching Antarctic ground, you'll participate in mandatory informational sessions. The IAATO regulations, the International Association of Antarctic Tour Operators, specify your walking boundaries, required wildlife distances, and proper boot cleaning procedures. Additionally, you'll undergo biosecurity screenings on multiple occasions. This involves inspecting every glove, gaiter, and bag for seeds, insects, or mysterious debris that might damage the environment. My most recent cruise included 3 separate biosecurity examinations. My camera tripod even required approval. If this resembles airport security designed for penguins, that's essentially accurate. Number 5. Wildlife sightings are never guaranteed. Remember that penguin chick photograph from the marketing brochure? Don't become overly enthusiastic. What you observe or fail to observe depends on the month, climate conditions, and chance. I once arrived at Deception Island during November and witnessed shores teeming with animals. When I returned in February, nothing except stones, kelp, and a solitary skua appearing somewhat insulted. Antarctica isn't an animal exhibition, and the creatures don't appear on schedule. Number 6. Your captain and expedition leader control everything. This could be the most critical information overall. Your ship's commander and voyage director determine everything from daily timetables to shore visit locations and timing. Their expertise, or absence of it, will define your experience. Here's the surprising part: you won't discover their identities until you've already boarded the vessel. An experienced leader could locate a hidden inlet filled with whales. A less seasoned one might choose caution and keep passengers aboard during minor wave conditions. On my latest voyage, we discovered post-boarding that the professional photographer had been removed from the crew. No photographs, no summary video, no proof of our travels for sharing. The takeaway: don't make assumptions. Always inquire about the crew before making reservations. Number 7. Ship size dramatically affects your experience. Antarctic cruises vary significantly in quality. The passenger count aboard substantially impacts your actual activities. Smaller vessels carrying fewer than 200 travelers can access additional landing locations. Larger vessels face considerably more limitations. Only 100 individuals may go ashore simultaneously. Therefore, on large ships, you'll spend extended periods awaiting your opportunity or miss shore visits entirely. Even worse, traditional cruise companies like Holland America or Norwegian cannot land passengers whatsoever. It's observation-only cruising. Thus, your vessel's capacity determines whether you walk alongside penguins or observe them from the upper deck using magnification equipment while holding cooling coffee. Number 8. Inside cabins save you thousands of dollars. Most cruise passengers shun interior cabins as if they're hazardous. They lack windows and views. Some compare staying in them to resting inside a footwear container at sea. Therefore, what's my reasoning for repeatedly reserving them? After more than 30 cruises and thousands in accumulated savings, I can explain this. Interior cabins represent one of cruising's most undervalued travel strategies. They lack glamour and scenic appeal, but they've enabled me to journey further, cruise with greater frequency, and genuinely enjoy my holidays more. Let me be completely frank. I wouldn't manage half my current cruise frequency without selecting interior cabins. These accommodations have generated thousands in savings for me. I'm not overstating this. While others overpay for ocean panoramas and balconies they rarely utilize, I'm maximizing my budget and embarking on double the number of cruises. Once I analyzed 2 identical voyages, same vessel, same route. The interior cabin cost $900 less. That equals an entire Caribbean excursion package, airfare enhancement, and beverage package, all funded by what I didn't spend on a view I'd seldom be present to appreciate. Here's the actual strategy nobody discusses: reserve early, then continuously check for price reductions. Cruise costs can decrease weeks before sailing. If you haven't reached final payment, you can typically rebook at the reduced rate. This method has saved me hundreds mid-reservation, sometimes effortlessly. Number 9. Inside cabins are the quietest rooms on the ship. This may sound unusual, but interior cabins actually rank among the ship's quietest locations. Yes, the accommodations people describe as confined and suffocating. They're simultaneously the only place offering genuine noise escape. Consider this: on one voyage, I occupied a promenade view room, a windowed cabin overlooking the ship's interior walkway. It sounded appealing theoretically, until midnight karaoke reverberated through the walls. Children were yelling, glasses were clinking, corridor lighting remained constant. We barely rested. However, the subsequent cruise, I returned to my reliable interior cabin. No windows, no disturbance, no interruptions, just complete silence and the deepest sleep I'd experienced in years. Here's the strategy: if you reserve an interior room positioned between other cabins, distant from the theater, elevators, or nightclubs, it becomes your private sleep haven. No overhead footsteps, no bass pulsing from the club, just you, your pillow, and complete darkness-level quietness. Number 10. Inside cabins provide the best sleep you'll ever have. This might constitute the greatest surprise of all. Interior cabins, the ship's most economical rooms, actually deliver the finest vacation sleep you'll ever experience. No balcony, no window, no sunlight. That's precisely why they function. One voyage, I stayed in an ocean-facing balcony cabin. Beautiful view. However, every morning, sunshine burst through the curtains at 6 a.m. like a searchlight. I couldn't sleep late even when desired. The following cruise, I returned to my typical interior cabin, and it completely changed things. I slept 9 consecutive hours. No alarms, no light infiltration, no disturbances, just pure continuous darkness. Here's what most people don't grasp. It's irrelevant whether it's 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. inside an interior cabin, your system believes it's midnight. This enables immediate napping, more profound sleep, and increased energy for your actual vacation. On port-intensive cruises, when you're rising early and walking 10,000 steps daily, that quality of rest is essential. Number 11. Inside cabins are more functional than you think. You might believe an interior cabin is cramped, uncomfortable, and barely habitable, but here's the reality. These rooms are significantly more practical than people acknowledge, and occasionally, they actually function superior to larger cabins. Allow me to clarify. On one of my initial cruises, I felt anxious about reserving an interior room. I envisioned colliding with furniture, inadequate storage space, no movement room, essentially sleeping in an ocean-going closet. However, upon entering, I was astonished. Everything had designated placement. The closet was standard-sized. The bed was substantial. Even the bedside tables contained drawers. The vanity served dual purposes as a desk, and concealed shelving existed that I initially didn't notice. It resembled being inside a compact, perfectly engineered spacecraft, condensed yet efficient and considerably more comfortable than anticipated. Here's what nobody mentions. Cruise lines recognize these rooms are small. Consequently, they've designed them with centimeter precision. You're not merely obtaining a less expensive cabin, you're receiving space optimized for actual travelers. Number 12. Expensive cabins can create unnecessary pressure. Let's be candid. Have you ever purchased something costly and then felt compelled to force yourself to use it merely to justify the expense? That's precisely what occurred when I reserved my first cruise suite. The accommodation was stunning, expansive balcony, comfortable sofa, even additional benefits like priority boarding. However, midway through the cruise, something peculiar happened. I began worrying about adequate utilization. Should I be relaxing more in the room? Should I skip this performance and appreciate the balcony? Should I remain inside and maximize my expenditure? Suddenly, I wasn't considering what I desired to do. I was considering what I ought to do to validate the price. Now, contrast that with cruising in an interior cabin. I sleep, I shower, I depart, that's everything. Because I'm not paying for luxury, I don't feel compelled to utilize it. No guilt, no pressure, no questioning my enjoyment. Number 13. Some inside cabins have virtual balconies. What if I revealed that some interior cabins actually possess a view, despite lacking any window? I didn't accept it initially either, but it's genuine and somewhat brilliant. On certain Royal Caribbean newer vessels, you can reserve an interior cabin featuring something termed a virtual balcony, a massive floor-to-ceiling display showing the precise live exterior ship view. Rolling waves, sunrises, even port arrivals, all in real time. The first time I occupied one, I entered and thought, wait, did I enter the wrong room? Because it genuinely felt like a balcony cabin despite paying interior cabin rates. Norwegian has advanced this further. They now offer solo cabins with integrated virtual windows specifically for single-person accommodations. They're surprisingly comfortable. Now, does it feel identical to possessing an actual balcony? Obviously not. You cannot step outside, smell the ocean, or hear the wind, but it provides the space illusion. Number 14. Balcony cabins have hidden downsides. Let me describe the occasion I upgraded to a balcony cabin and immediately experienced regret. We were cruising around Iceland, glaciers, fjords, absolutely stunning. I decided, you know what? I deserve this. Therefore, I paid an additional $300 for a balcony cabin, anticipating spending every morning enjoying coffee with a view. However, the moment we departed, I recognized I had erred. Our neighbors, let's simply say they disregarded the no-smoking policy or the fact that marijuana is prohibited aboard. They were smoking on the balcony constantly. Every time I stepped outside to appreciate the view, it struck me forcefully. Not ocean air, not fresh atmosphere, smoke continuously. We reported it. The cruise line addressed it professionally, But during those initial days, my expensive upgrade was completely wasted. That's when it occurred to me, interior cabins don't have this issue. No balconies, no drifting smoke, no awkward eye contact through glass partitions, just walls. Soundproof, trouble-free. Number 15. Choose your cabin based on your cruise style. Alright, now that you've observed the advantages, let's discuss you. Because the genuine question isn't whether interior cabins are beneficial, it's whether they're appropriate for your cruise. Therefore, let me clarify. If you're cruising on a budget, and I mean genuinely attempting to maximize every dollar, this is your entire vacation's easiest victory. Skip the balcony, reserve the interior cabin, and utilize that extra money for excursions, beverages, or even another cruise. If your itinerary is port-intensive, meaning you're off the vessel nearly daily, why pay extra for a view you won't be present to appreciate? Now, reverse that. If you're sailing through Alaska, Iceland, or Norway, the destination types where the view constitutes the experience, then yes, a balcony might actually justify the cost. Awakening to glaciers and fjords, that's once-in-a-lifetime material. Here's a significant consideration. If you're the traveler type who values leisurely mornings, private relaxation time, room service and bathrobes, you might genuinely appreciate the space and atmosphere of a balcony or suite. However, if you're like me, the cruiser type wanting to explore every deck, attend every show, and extract every bit of adventure from the trip, then you don't need a balcony. You need a charging station, a shower, and a resting place. That's everything. That's why I nearly always stay in an interior cabin, and perhaps you should too. Inform me in the comments what cabin type you typically reserve and your reasoning. If you appreciated this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss a new tip from CruiseBlog. Thanks for watching and happy cruising. Therefore, is Antarctic cruising worthwhile? Definitely, but only if you approach it with complete awareness and your parka properly fastened. The reality is, Antarctica is untamed, unpredictable, and completely memorable. However, it's not an amusement park. Circumstances will transform, arrangements will adjust, and you'll probably lose your preferred gloves to an unexpected wind gust. But if you're prepared for all of that, you'll experience the journey of a lifetime. If you want to learn how to accomplish it without depleting your finances, proceed to my next video where I explain exactly how to visit Antarctica affordably. See you there. Stay warm.